Mm. Good morning. Have a seat. And let's go right into deep breathing. Where do you start your depth of breathing? There are two places that are pretty useful. If you have worked with cellular respiration, you can always begin there. That's the fundamental breath. And again, it's not an imagination. It's not like, oh, my cells are breathing. It's an experiential whole body rising, falling, absorbing, softening, releasing breath. Always, always a good place to start. And then, of course, the other, I could go through a whole list, as you know, but I'm just going to do two. And another good place to start is with the pelvic diaphragm, because that's really the root of the inhale. So you could go right down to the pelvic diaphragm, and as you're inhaling, you'll feel it rise up and basically be drawn to the pit of the belly, and the thoracic diaphragm and pelvic diaphragm are attracted to one another by the pranavayus. Exhaling, they release. Inhaling, they condense. Remember, the tone of the back abdominal wall is part of this diaphragmatic movement. So it's literally one structure in there that is pulsing and squeezing, not just the organs, excuse me, but the prana. It's churning the prana. All right? Compress, can release. Compress is inhale, that's the only way it makes sense, and exhale is release. It makes sense with yogic breathing, not with Western anatomy necessarily. Idea of full breath, but with sensitivity, we begin to feel it. All right, now keep the rhythm of your breath. We're going to take a long exhale all the way to soft, deep, empty. And then we're going to inhale and take a full breath in all the way up to the top lobes of the lungs. And exhale, bring it back out and down. All right, so here we go, simple Ujjayi. Exhale with me, soft, deep, empty, and inhaling, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, release, don't control the breath, just take some breaths in. Recovery breathing, no control. It could be anything, gasping or still at exact stillness. It doesn't matter. One more of those. When you're ready, it's an inhale and it's an exhale all the way to empty. Do not push down on the pelvic floor, even as it lowers. And then inhaling, rising, 2, 3, 4, at the top, and exhaling, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Relax, release, breathe normally. And again. Exhale fully. And inhaling. 1, 2, it's a wave. 3, 4, the wave crests. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe normally. Good. Now take one of your hands, cross over and touch the top lung on the opposite side. How to touch lung, just a brief reminder. First you touch the skin or the clothing. You feel the texture of that. There's a little bit of a fatty layer under the skin. Not a lot right here, but there's a little. Touch that. Touch to the bone. Right? You have to deepen your touch a little bit to get to the bone. You feel bone. Now you go to the lung. It's easy. It's easy because it's a deeper touch, but a softer touch. And there you feel it. You've got your lung. As you're inhaling, imagine, notice, and feel, because it's also happening, of course, the breath in the top lung on that side. Couple of breaths. So you'll notice that your ribs are moving, but what you'll notice is that your ribs are moving from the motion of the lung underneath. So the lung, in this case, is initiating the movement. Good. And take your hand down, same side, mid portion of lung, right at breast height, same thing. That deep, soft touch and the searching for, if it's not apparent to you, you search for the feeling of your lung moving under the ribs and moving the ribs. The point is you have choice. You can move from your muscles and your ribs, or you can initiate from the lung itself. That's the choice we're looking at. And then take it to the low lung. Excuse me. And it's the same thing. There's a deeper touch, and then it's soft. And then the tissues in there are expanding. And your low ribs are following. Good. And come back around, rest your arms. Feel the difference in the two sides. So paying attention, you see, you take your awareness somewhere that the tissues, like in a relationship, they like to be seen, they like to be felt, and then they express. You may feel that one side is a little more, not so thick, but a little harder. Someone might call it tight. All right, here we go to the other side. So your hand comes up and you touch the upper and you explore. Those of you who are newer at it, perfectly fine. First you touch the fabric. You touch the skin. Oh, it's slidey. It's got a little fattiness there that slides, and then you touch a little deeper and you're at the bone, and of course the muscle between the bone. That's a firm touch. Now you soften the touch but go deeper. There's your lung. And you feel it. And its movement expands the ribs that are resting on it. Good. Now take it to the mid, which of course goes around the side and then forward, right under at breast height. Noticing that breast, which both men and women have are soft tissue that also move separately on the ribs. They're mobile too. And from underneath, so you will feel that perhaps one side lung is more easily sensitive than the other. Sometimes the lung movement will come in little starts and stops rather than in a smooth action. That's amazing and wonderful if you can feel it, because what that means is that it's a little caught in some way. And your gentle approach of letting it ripple will release. It's the fascia that gets caught, and it'll release it. All right, and then the low lung that side. The gentle movement and the breath and the attention is what releases it. This is the underpinning of easy and strong movement. Our organs are huge supports of our structural body. I mean, they are our structural body, but I mean of our limbs. All right, stay with it. Good, and then release it. Good, now stay with me. This is your lung. You need to do it. This is the longitudinal axis of your lung on the side. You may as well mirror me, right? Now, one way to move is to move your ribs. Do that first. Just move your ribs to turn that way. And then go to the other side and move your ribs to turn that way. Good. Now go into the longitudinal axis of the lung that you were just looking at and feeling, and roll it around and allow your ribs to simply follow it. And then roll it back and allow your ribs to follow it back. It's a different quality of movement, and it's a literal altering of direction. I don't know what I mean by direction. It's an altering of initiation, and it makes the movement different. Here we go. This side, go from the center. It's the hub, only it's a dense hub of the thoracic cavity. Right? So you're going from the center of the lung, not the center of the body. Do it again. Good. Now come back to center, even. And there's a central hub. So you might bring your hands to Anjali Mudra to create this more central hub. The trachea comes down, it bifurcates right behind the heart, and it goes to the lungs. So there are little joints, listen to this if you can, that when the trachea comes down, it bifurcates into the two sides of the lungs and grows out like trees. But this is the key. Some of you will be able to feel this, and for others, it's a brand new exploration that you may be interested in. Right down about here, there are joints with the bronchial tubes and the trachea. So not exactly at the center, but just a little bit wider. There are joints. So rather than Anjali Mudra, which is more heart, take your hand like this over the heart. And you feel you're going to rotate around that. So now you're in the center. And you turn one way. And you rotate around that. And you turn the other way. So it's right there. It's right behind the heart. And it's the pathways into the lungs from the trachea. Good. Now, extend your legs straight out in front of you. Spread your toesies. And then bring your right leg back and draw in. And then just go back into a little soft, easy sensing and feeling of these structures. Use your left hand on the leg. And as you turn, I'm going to ask you to turn from your front side. So take the longitudinal axis of your front side lung, your forward side lung with the extended leg, and roll around it. Exhale. Now take the back lung and roll around it. Exhale. You only get so far. You don't get all that far. Now you're going to the central limb, the joints and the trachea. Inhale, big breath, and roll right around that. And you'll find it brings a lot of ease and you go further. And you can try it again. You can come out of it a little bit. Maybe you only want to do the center. That's a choice. And you roll right around the center and the side lungs will follow basically. Once you get back there, take the back lung and roll it on its longitudinal axis to gaze even more behind you. Yes? Using your front arm on leg to stabilize and densify the front lung, maybe you go a little bit deeper. You see what we're doing? We're touching into lung. We're giving them touch, attention, ability to expand, condense, yield, things that will keep our lungs healthy. All right, now, any way you like, your exploration. Maybe you roll them all at the same time. Maybe you roll one and the other and you explore. Extend that leg out and draw in. So this is the home inside of our chest, our heart region where we are, inviting environment in and releasing internal out. So what does that feel like? It's the air, it's inner touch. Now pull in and, we need inner touch, not just outer touch. Inner touch isn't an obvious, it doesn't just happen because it's too easy to harden away from it. Just like outer touch, we can harden and not take the nurturance. The same thing happens here. Or not, your choice. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to shift and take that back arm and I'm going to yield down. First thing I'm going to do this time is I'm going to turn from the back lung. So you can do it in any order, it really doesn't matter. And you turn from the back lung. I think I did that on the other side too. Fine, let's go to the center instead of going to the front. Go to the center and articulate around that. And hand comes down behind you for a little stability. And now you go from the front lung and roll. Now, I'll bet you if you go back to the center now and rotate around its axis, you'll go further. Use your hands, use the supports of your active body here. So even though this is called, sometimes people will call it a spinal twist, or will say it's great for the organs and in the belly, of course. And you have this choice to do it from the perspective of this inquiry paying attention to allowing a conscious touch in the region of your lungs. All right, and you inhale and you come back. Legs extend, both legs out, and as you're inhaling, see if you can use your lungs to do this. The lower will begin to bring your low out, your low arms. And as you get to the mid, your elbows will start to get up. And then as you get to the top, you'll feel, the support for the full up reach. Reach up any amount you like and create more longitudinal space. So here again, there's choice. You want to slide up through the ribs? Sure, fine. And then once you've done it, can you feel the back lung here wide and allow it to feel, it grounds down your back. As the lungs fill, they go low lung, back lung, down the back as well as behind you. And the mid lungs take you out into the wide, and the top lung brings you all the way up. Hard hands inhale. As you're exhaling, releasing down, systematically top, mid, bottom. Draw your right leg in, simple forward. First, turn toward the extended leg. And touch in, feel, pulse around, explore. You have the template now. It's your exploration. And the way to sensitize is to pulse around and through it. Now turn forward and let a little bit of that spiral remain as you come out and over. Listen to me. When you come forward, let these peripheral lungs rotate around inside toward the front, and they contain your heart there just a bit. So your inflection, this is not about a forward bend, stretching the legs, something. We're just flexing. Now to come up, use their rotations. And as you're inhaling, and down. Other side. Yep. And then turn. And then play. Wow, I'm really noticing this morning that my left side is requires a little more touch, requires a little more attention than I've obviously been offering to it. So I can do that or not. I can allow its little, like, where have you been attitude, and then come around. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. And then inhale, you come up a bit, and as you're exhaling, you're coming out and over, rotating longitudinal axis of lung to hold heart in front. The hands can touch. This gives a beautiful connectivity of the lungs to the earth and the earth's support. As the air element comes in and out, you have touch from the earth, dense. You have touch from the air, soft, light. Yes, and then yield into earth. Inhale, rotate them and come up. And exhale. Back to comfortable seated, and take the opposite leg on top or in front. Bring your hands into Anjali Mudra. Find the element of a bow here, which is a flexion condense. And simply come back up to neutral. Allow the lungs to rotate to neutral and your hands to rest on your thighs. Good. All right, let's come around. We're gonna bring this into movement, of course, more movement, and starting hands and knees, and just getting this rotation of the lungs set up, the longitudinal possibility of rotation, which we're seeing if we're going forward and back, can do this, support the heart and so forth. And we're seeing how in twisting, we can initiate with any of these channels and so forth. So hands and knees, this is really just exhale and flexion. And inhaling, feel this from the perspective of that rotation. Exhaling, rotate them around, and then inhaling, rotate them around. Now, roll around it a little bit, as much as you like. So all kinds of inquiry here into what might the lungs themselves initiate in these cat explorations. So perhaps you are trying a rotation, which would bring an arm up, right? It would. If it wanted to rotate its full way, try it. You rotate, there it goes. The arm comes up. Again. You feel the difference from doing it from the bone, which would be more like that. You do it from the lung and it's, there's the lung. Yes? And then push back and come into a child's posture, but keep your arms extended out in front of you. And reach your arms and your fingers way far forward. Come up on your tippy fingers, tippy toe fingers, and allow your head maybe to drop down even all the way to the floor, if that feels good, or right between your upper arms. Good. Now, flatten your hands down on the floor, pulse into the earth, so that means there's a little yielding and pushing and rebounding back. And then as you're inhaling, you come up to hands and knees. It's downward facing dog. Turn your toes under back there. Take a full breath. Please no hurrying. Take a full breath in and a deep exhale and slide back. Now you're bringing in the Ujjayi Pranayama, the inhale and the exhale that makes the resonance of the ocean sound inside of you. Good. Now walk your feet up to your hands. Stay there. Bring in the same kind of relationality into the earth with your legs and your pelvic halves and those big organs in there. You know, the large intestines that live right in the sides of the pelvic halves. So pulse down. It's bent knees, and you're pulsing down with one, and you're feeling it come up and around. So you're just setting up this kind of organy sensation in the whole body, right? You can have your hands on your blocks, your legs, a chair, or the floor, and waving lungs. Freeing up lungs from ribs, feeling their inner mobility come halfway up. Open your arms big. Like a soaring bird here. And push into the earth, rise all the way up. Take it up, feel your lungs. Wow. Reach fully. And Anjali Mudra. We haven't yet gone to the sides with this, so I want to just take a lateral kind of situation where you know this very well, but watch also. Watch and do. So you go down, condense, 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 and then this arm inhaling up. So I'm bringing my arm up a little differently. I brought it up with my elbow first, right? Because that's what I got to the mid-lung. You see? So interesting how the same postures can be so different. So just check it out. There's no right thing to feel inside here. You still have those 3 channels. You could still arc up and over the low lung side. You could still come up and around through that mid portion with the joints, the organ joints there of the bronchioles. And then you can even slide over more with the top. So as you can see, by differentiating those, I actually did come much further into this shape. Now I'm coming up from under because the underside likes to support, to come up, opening, sliding, and exhaling. Woo. Compressive side, slidey side. Okay, here we go. So it's the other side, go down, and then coming up, again, it happened the elbow. It happened the elbow for me instead of up here. It did happen up there too, whatever. And then reach over, and then go down through that underside. Feel the beauty of that compress. So you're not hard. Please don't push hard into the compressive side. It's still breathing, but it's deeply touched. Then go to the center channel. You'll see in my posture, if you can see me where you're working, you'll see in my posture that when I go to the center channel and up through it, I really do get a little farther into the shape, and then I come up and over with the top, and again I'm a little farther into the shape, which is just giving me a lot of nice information inside. I'm not seeking a position. And the other side felt easier to me. So that's fine. That's fine. This is this side. Right? And then the underside comes up, mid, top, and releasing down and down. All right, because I want to work with this very clearly today for myself, I'm going to give myself the option of a chair. We're going to do some Surya explorations. So with your chair or blocks or the floor, completely your choice, stand in front of it. And as you stand in Tadasana, feel again for these channels up in the thorax. Note that these thoracic channels have to continue down through the back of, through the thick of your torso as well. Otherwise, you're fragmenting across your solar plexus region. So that continuity remains. We're differentiating up here, but we're not denying the continuity that we know that we need in the whole body. As you're exhaling, release your arms and just be with that. As you're inhaling, follow this. Feel for it. As you're exhaling, up, out, and over, and your arms might be pulling into the lungs a little bit. Sometimes I do that because it gives me more stability. As you're inhaling, you're ready to move. And we'll go to plank, step back into plank. So even here, I'm going to use my chair. Inhale, and as you're exhaling, okay, Chaturanga Dandasana, how do your lungs support that? And inhale, slide them. Now stay in upward dog for a moment. Please take your knees to the floor if you're down on the floor, so you're not in a big back bend working hard. Knees are on the floor or you're on a chair, and then you slide. The low lung goes down your back. The mid fans open to your arms, and the top slips up under the top 3 ribs in the front. 2 more breaths. Ujjayi, please. And exhale all the way back to downward facing dog. 1 breath. Long Ujjayi. So here you're using both the power of the lungs and the ease of the lungs to support your weight. Then you're offering the same weight all the way into the earth, and the support comes right back up to you. Exhale all the way to empty and walk or hop your feet up to your hands. Take an inhale and exhale. And push into the earth and rise. Inhale. And exhaling. Open, inhale. Exhale, spin. It's Trikonasana. Inhale, lungs, lungs, lungs. Center, top lung, exhale. Touch, and from the center I'm rolling, inhale. Exhale. From the top lung I'm rolling more, inhale. Exhale. And then Ujjayi, bottom lung supporting, boom, that turns me a little too. And a profound noticing inside that this is not, I'm not just opening my rib cage, right? I know you feel that, but you know that spin open or whatever we all say, it has many, many ways we might do it. So here we're in that little bit of a long hold, right? Looking at the rhythm and the deep of the Ujjayi, which is nervous system touching, toning, balancing. And yield down, inhale, the underside is usually the supportive when you're coming up. So I'm not paying attention. I know what's going on down there. That's okay. And then you're up. And we turn. You can move your support or change the other side, whatever you want. I'll just do it with my leg. Exhale, I plant. Wamba. Now this time, you stay there. As you're inhaling, feel this downward flowing. It's like this big cloudy mist that flows wet, a little wet, right down your back body. That's the low lung. See if you can feel that. So you initiate by fanning that out. Inhale, you open. Whoa. So that's your mid now. Your mid lungs give big support to the arms right here through the elbows. See how your elbows will float out from there? And then here we go. So you reach up and you're spinning. We're spinning that upper arm. We're spinning this low lung. Then we're spinning around the center for now. And then we're spinning around the upper. And then we touch and elbow, right? And up. And it's Ujjayi. paid attention to allowing that down mist from the low lung in the back body, inside, it's not outside, it's in the body, goes right through the kidney back, goes right into the flexures on the two sides of the organ body there in the pelvic halves, just above the pelvic halves. Oceany breath. Long, deep breath. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yield, push into earth. As you're inhaling, come up. And as you're exhaling, come back together. Heel toe together. Step or jump, your choice. Tadasana. Back to a Surya. Feel free, use the chair or not. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. Oh, yeah. Condense, right? You got it. And then inhale, big expansion, big reach, big, thick mist down my back. Exhale, over. Inhale, ready up. And exhale, plank. Inhale in plank. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths, draw your thighs back. That will help to lengthen the torso, right? All the way through the torso, the side waist, and you'll be able to feel that low lung offering its mist down the back, nurturing kidneys. Now you'll step forward, so don't spin the back foot in. Just keep the toes as they are and step your right foot up between your hands. And then drop down low. And now spin the heel in down there in the back. Feel the challenge of that. Take your right hand to your right thigh and turn to face forward by spinning around the longitudinal axis of your back leg lung. Yes? And then from there, inhale and reach up. 1 breath. Hold a bar of light up there between your hands, a rising bar, and then allow the coccyx to release down into the earth with its bright and yet earthbound energy. Mm-hmm. Now it's your lungs. You're going to come into Vira 2. So spin, see what you got, come up, go through the center, go down and open through the back, and then Vira 2. Breathe them all the way through, the mist down the back. Your back lungs are very high. They go all the way up to your shoulder blades, guys. They're not just low, they're big, humongo things. Right? Stay with it. And then Trikonasana, exhale over it. Again, turning. Yes, you use the pit of the belly. You use everything you got, right? But it's background. Right now, you're looking at more, you're in focus on the lungs. Here we go, turning around. Inhale, come up. And step back. Plank. Inhale, upward dog. So it was Chaturanga plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Draw your thighs back. Lengthen the side waist all the way through. They're thick. Feel your kidneys, they're right up there on the back abdominal wall. And you're gonna step your left foot up. And yield down. Here's where you might tend to compress through the back lung region. So you're not going to. You're not going to. You're going to spin the back heel down and feel how that is lengthened the back leg side body. And then with an inhale, take the deep lung down as you rise. And breathe. The bar of levity at the top, you know not from where it comes. You don't need to know. It draws you up, you drop your coccyx and let that sweet, bright, rooting gland tether you. All right, here we go. So you're coming up. It's through the lungs. You come up a little to get out of, any compression there on your spinning. And then you come back down. And you've used the lung or you haven't. So often you'll hear an action, like turn your chest to face this way and your head that way. So what we're doing is we're actually rolling the chest toward the back, but just by rolling through the lung, right? Ujjayi. And Trikonasana. I do want to say that this is a very light touch inside. You're not cranking on things, right? Okay, here we go. Inhale. And you step back, plank or chaturanga. And then into chaturanga, if you like, upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Good, all the way, empty. Forward you go, walking or hopping, stepping down, and rising up, and Anjali. All right, so this will be Parsvottanasana. We're going to have the arms in reverse namaste, so you won't need any kind of prop or anything. So going down here, I just want to show, so some of you, if you need to see, how you're coming down into the prep for Utkatasana to set up the movement. And there's a lot of resilience here. So you're either doing it with me. Now everybody do it with me. Come down. All right. And then yield deeply down through the whole right leg. Now, as you go from the leg, you're all the way up through the organs of the right side body, which means you're going to also have the lung there. And then step back with your left. Spin the heel to the ground, push straight down into the earth, and as you're inhaling, you're coming up, the lungs rise and condense. Reach all the way up, inhale, exhaling, you're spinning your hands. You spin your hands around as you bring them back onto your back into any version of reverse namaste that you use, including holding elbows. Now, drag your hands down your back just a little bit. Don't take them, don't move them. Catch them onto your back of your vertebral column, and then just drag them downward just a touch to lengthen through the lumbar, and then fill the back lung, mid, and the top. So here we are, back lung, mid, and top. Okay, that's what's going to bring us into this little back bending part here. So yielding, inhaling back, lean back, mid, roll it up top. Now in the up gaze here, in the up gaze, you're actually genuinely invited to follow the trachea right up through, right up from back behind your heart, right up through your throat, and support your head. Wow. And then up and around it, roll the skull, roll the back skull along the arc of the occiput as you begin your journey forward. Go slowly, obviously. You're not in the posture yet. If you want to be, you can, but I'm thinking that you can also use this as a real refinement of movement by exploring as you go. What's happening here? In the lungs, in the trachea. As always, under the tongue, eyes resting, not closed, but resting. Forward any amount. Strong in the legs, of course. How are they strong? Because they're deep in the earth from the large intestine through the marrow, and the earth is supporting back up. At the level of organ, we're talking. All right, now push into earth as you're inhaling. Lift from the underside of the back belly. Right? And then through the fronts of the lungs, the trachea moving in toward the spine, and you rise. And you exhale, arms, Anjali, and step forward. Yield into the earth, simple standing. Other side. Anjali. Down. Deep earth, deep earth, deep earth. Rising through left side. Right is lightening. And then reaching, articulating, finding the ground. As you're inhaling, you're coming up and reaching up. And with the upreach, you're allowing that flooding of the mist down. And turning your backs of hands to face one another as you go through the front plane right now, many different ways. And you slide your hands up, and then you come back up. And you gently tug your spine down from your hands back there, but you slide up the back abdominal wall. Now we're in the lungs. Fill the back lobes down through the waist. As you're inhaling, back lobes wide, mid, top. The gaze is up, soft under tongue, wide through jaw joints, all the way through the cave of your mouth from the trachea. And then inhale, you come up. journey. I'm taking it very slow. That's what I'm suggesting for this particular inquiry. I'm moving, my breath is exploring aspects of lung with a kind of a soft, very gentle touch. Pretty quiet in me right now. It needn't be that in you. It can be very different. It can be a surging ujjayi going on inside of you. That will be what you need right now. Hopefully, if you allow it and don't just lay it on top of something. You follow what's going on, what should be, what feels most nurturant. Yeah, and so as I'm down here, for me, my ujjayi starts to come up because my front leg is feeling a little bit like, oh, wait a minute. I have some moving around to do here, and you're not sure what it is. So here we go. Push into the earth. Use the appropriateness of your breath. Inhale and come up. Find it, find it, find it. And beautiful. And release your arms. Anjali. Exhale. Steady. And push off. Step forward. Down. Tadasana. Udita Hasta, Padangustasana. So you can use a chair. You can, please, if you like, you can use a chair and, explore this. When we go into 2, you just turn. And when we go here, you go here. And when you want to go forward, you just go forward, right? So, depending on days, you want to know what your options are. And depending upon the kind of exploration that you're doing. Now, I'm going to use the chair to support my balance, right? So I'm just going to touch a little bit. One finger on the chair is enough to give you wiggle room in there for what you want to be paying attention to. All right, now yielding down through left. You feel that extra weight? I'm talking about changing something. You're supporting before you move. And then, so you're yielding down through, I told you left, but I'm mirroring you yield down through right. Okay? And then your left comes up and you hold the toe, or just your opposite, doesn't matter. And then now breathe into that low back lung, let it flood down. And with an exhale, extend your leg. You're holding the big toe and you're also pushing your big toe into your fingers, your first 2 fingers, as you draw back with your arm. In the drawing back with your arm, stabilize it into your lungs. Right? Maybe you bend, maybe you have a strap, it doesn't matter. So you feel that density in the right side lung region when you're holding. This is not about your muscle. It's the right side. It's my right side, I'm sorry. You know how I am. Pull that leg in, the up leg, and open. All right, so again, the density is supporting the leg hold. The density in that side lung. Very clear, I know you feel it. And then bring it forward and release it and simply thread it down. Stand in Tadasana. Other side. Yield down. That's the support preceding the action. If there's no relational action into the earth, and you're going to stand on one leg, that's a thing that's all about you, which is fine if that's the way you want to do it. But coming into relationship with the earth is very different. Active relationship. You're always in relationship, but actively noticing, feeling, inquiring, present with. Density, left side lung. Get in there. Get in there doesn't mean you're doing something. It's already there. You just feel for it. All right. And then open. Resilience in the upper arm. Don't just hinge around the shoulder. There's resilience in the upper arm. The pull, the push, and the yielding. So push isn't hard, please. Pull isn't hard. They always have yield under them, always. It's not one to the other. The yield is there, always. And bring it forward. And bend it. And thread it down. Asana. You go down through the right, you step the left out, and you open. As you're exhaling, your left arm comes under, your left leg rolls over, and you intertwine, and you pulse. Now, don't just bring your shoulder blades. It's not about stretching the rhomboids. If anything, at the level of the muscles between your shoulder blades pulse together, not apart. But you're in the lungs. Low lung. Mid. Top. Now, as you release back, just take your arms down beside you and step. And then inhale, reach them out and up. This time the backs of your hands face one another. Take an upward peak. Inhale again. And as you're exhaling, pull your arms down as if you are a soaring bird all the way through the sky. Go deep down with the opposite. Open both. Sorry. Your right side wraps arm under, leg over, intertwine. Pulse. Good. And then pushing into the earth, the arms come down. You inhale and reach them up, 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 up. Backs of hands face one another up here. And exhale, pull down, soaring. Uttanasana. Uttanasana is the forward bend where your feet are parallel with one another and your hands are like piano keys in relationship to the feet. So you would come all the way down and touch your fingers to the floor right next to your toes and your feet, and perhaps even flatten the hands down. Alternately, you bring your hands to whatever supports can allow you to really take your hands to the floor or the blocks. So I don't have blocks, but I have a chair. Inhaling, everybody, hands on the two pelvic calves. Slide up. You slide up, as we always have, up the back abdominal wall. You're going down with the vertebral column. And now you're using the full of the back lung, the mid, the top, even the trachea into the big pharynx of the back's mouth. And then come up and over, inhale and exhale to the chair. If you're using a chair, it's fine. Inhale, you slide out. And as you're exhaling, if you're using a chair, you're going to have to bring your hands, perhaps, wherever. It doesn't matter. Get a little bit of flexion in your spine. And then maybe your hands go down lower. Blocks are often good. And the floor is fine. Breathing. So in this one, as you spread your toes, right? You spread your toes and your footballs and you're pushing into the earth, yielding, pushing. So a push is not a hardening. It's not like that. It's a yielding, pushing, right? So sometimes if you feel you're hardening, you can take your legs and decide in another term that you're reaching into the earth with your legs. You reach in. Or you yield, which is more of an inquiry, and pulse, which is a little bit of each, reach and push, and then play with yours, what you find to be your relationship here. All right, now bring your hands up into your two pelvic calves, bend your knees enough so that you can come literally halfway up and feel the continuity of the organs, lungs, large intestine, down into the legs, and then push into the earth, funnel that large intestine energy through the marrow of the bones as you come up, heel toe together, and stand again in Tadasana. This one is Padahastasana, so you're actually going to bring your hands under your feet. Palms face up and hands go under your feet, both of them. So you can see that you can do that even if you don't have a lot of range, because you can have your hips down pretty low. So everyone, I think, can do this. So you're from Tadasana, and again, you heel toe apart. That's just going to be the perfect distance. Right, so you heel toe apart, your feet are straight ahead, your toes are spreading, you yield deep into the earth through the thick tubes, you come up with the lungs, through the trachea into the head, and exhale, over you go. Same, all the previous instructions apply, and then hands right under the feet. You can take your fingers, your toes all the way up to your wrists if you like. Inhale and slide out long, and exhale and pour down. So the front lungs are a little bit condensed whenever you're doing a flexion
posture, right? That's okay. They've rolled around to the front. They're just hugging into toward the heart. The heart can rest forward and down on this. 3 more breaths, so make them count. 1. The back lungs still sliding kidneyward. 2. And 3. Perfect. Release your feet. Slide your hands up to a place that's really supportive. It could be your thighs or your hips. Halfway up and all the way up, stepping into the earth and healing toeing together.
Don't control your breath for a moment, more than a moment. If it starts to do something interesting, you can allow it and follow it. That's not controlling. Don't just say, now I need to breathe like this, or now I need to breathe like this. Just there's method to pranayama, guys. It starts with something, it builds, it goes, it goes, it goes. It's not like grab this technique, then grab this technique, then I'm gonna go here. Oops, that didn't work, grab this technique. We work with pranayama from the very basis and we build it in toward the ultimate ease of breath, which is the complete goal of all the pranayamas. It's not holding your breath, it's nothing like that. The goal of pranayama is to do with consciousness. And the way to alter that is to use nervous system and awareness. Then you take the techniques, then they work.
All right, let's come down to the floor.
And you're gonna take a moment to roll back. So wait for me in your little bit of an up position. Curled around yourself. Feet on the floor. Like this. And then, here we go. Pelvic floor rises up immediately. That's what part of what takes you to the back abdominal wall. Without that, you're fragmenting. You don't have the continuity of the whole slide. So pelvic floor rises, coccyx reaches away. Gotta happen. Pubic symphysis, pubic disc recedes into the body. Pit of the belly dropping down. Oh, rolling over the sacrum until you feel I would be better off. Oh, giving myself some support back here so that I can work with these deep things. Pit of belly. Oh, those nice long ligaments in front of the vertebral column. The anterior longitudinal ligament that integrates the whole spine from the coccyx into the skull. All right, and then not too fast. The low ribs, you wait. You gotta feel them. The low ribs give you lung underneath. If you went too far, please come back up and lengthen your lower ribs as far away from your lumbar spine as you can. Then you start coming down slowly. Let the weight drop, massage into the upper part of the lower ribs. Come into the mid part, slowly. Drop your lungs into the ribs. Upper mid part. And upper and top upper. Rest your hands on your belly so it's nice and soft.
And bring your feet up underneath your knees. Let your body yield into the earth under you. Begin to get the embodied sensation of your back body as a pool, back and sides, pelvic floor and thoracic diaphragm as a big pool for the breath. You can close your eyes and with your hands on your belly, imagine all of those tissues just like a muddy, warm lake. And let it drop into itself. Out of the back of the muddy, warm lake grows the lotus, right? We know how that is. You need the mud to get the lotus. And in your body, you have something quite similar. From the back abdominal wall, the mesentery offers up this big waving flower of small intestine, waving, opening petals of small intestine, just as precious and beautiful as any other part of you. Your heart is not better. The lotus is here too. All right, now draw your right leg into you and hug it in a bit. And then hold it and exhale from the back of the muddy. From the back of the muddy, slide your left leg out and let the lotus rest. So it rests down, it's your mesentery. It rests down into its back body, but it does have this buoyancy which comes up to the front. Now extend your right leg straight up. So you may want to draw it a little bit further away from you. It's up to you. Extend the right leg up, flex your foot and extend up through the center of your heel. Notice if you have a tendency to go a little dull in the foot. Look at the outside and the inside of your ankle and make them both presenting reasonably toward you. Flex, spread toes. Keep the flex, spread your toes. Now it's possible that your outer foot is a little higher than the big toe ball. So see if you can play with articulating the toe balls enough so that your big toe and small toe ball are on the same plane. And then exhale, and as you curl up around, you look at the lotus. And you soften the beauty of the lotus in your belly. And you provide the deep warmth of the mud. Good, now keep up. If you like, you can bring your hands to the back of your skull. It's totally fine. You gotta keep the pelvic floor lifting, right? That's what keeps things soft in the belly. And then slowly, from the integration, from the soft in the middle, the support in the back, you lower your leg. And you come down and you rest. All right, and then bring both legs back up to constructive rest type of situation. Make sure your spine is still long, it probably is. And draw your left knee into your chest and hug it in. And then slide, no, don't slide. Take your left leg up, extend it up and hold on to it. And then slide. Let's slide. Yeah. Now, spread toes and extend heels straight up. So one way or another, you want to look for what's the most natural place for my ankle bones to be. You may be just slightly off from what feels like, hey, that would probably be, wow, that's an interesting spot. What's that look like? What's that feel like? And then so you can extend straight up through the center heel. If you're going through the outer heel, that means you're a little collapsed on the outside. If you're going through the inner heel, it means you're probably straining on the inside. So find the place, heel up, spread toe ball again, and see where's the pad of that foot. You want to bring the toe and the small toe so they can be even. Inhale and exhale, curl around it. Soft in the mesentery, soft in the treasure of the belly lotus. And reach hands forward and take your time. Stay deep, soft, muddy, beautiful container as you allow the release out. The game of embodiment. And down. Just for a moment, melt your body as if you were doing Shavasana. Good, and then twisting. So you can take the supine twist of your choice. If you just want to follow me and not think about anything, feel free to do so. Now I'm going to bring my thighs perpendicular to the floor and my low legs parallel to the floor. Arms open to the sides with palms down. As I do this, I start to reach away with my coccyx immediately. So whatever your twist, reach away with your coccyx immediately. Stay deep and soft in the back abdominal wall. As you take your legs over, feel the support that you can garner from the opposite side lung. Rather than trying to keep your shoulder on the floor, how about you spin the spiral of the opposite side lung open until the shoulder's doing nothing. Just stay on the floor. The lung did it. It just rolled open on its axis. All right, you're going to come up. So is it possible to enlist the consciousness and the structure of your lung without hardening it to support what is weight over here? Okay, so I'm gonna go to the side lung that is where the legs are over there, and I'm going to let it roll back slightly. Roll back as the legs come up. That's working. Now it feels good. And then I get up to the center and I'm going to regroup a little and lengthen my lumbar. Right? Going the other side. Inhaling. Coccyx reaches away. This is just primary. You just have to do it. All right? Coccyx reaches away. Go back into your lung. Rolling this top lung open toward its same side arm. From the front to the back, rotating around the lung in order to effortlessly, I mean completely effortlessly, that shoulder is just not coming up because the rotation has happened in the lung itself. It's kind of a miracle if you think of how much time in yoga we may have worked, or I'm speaking for myself, to use my muscles to keep my shoulder down. It's pretty amazing. Good. Now the same thing, I'm going to use the rolling of this low lung and its density, supporting as I come up. There's the center, and here's that. Lengthening back and both knees to chest. You can curl around it. Good. And then come down and Shavasana. Extend. Feel free to get props, or you can simply rest right here. Shavasana. Good. Take your time. Coming on up to seated to finish together. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much. Till next time, huh?
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Patty, that was a delicious, intense class. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jose. Okay. Adios. Going to work. Well, I was just at work, right? Going to work again somewhere else.
Thank you, Patty.
Bye. Thank you.